Go live that time?
Yo, I see it. I see it in the corner.
So what's going on, fellas?
Oh, it's a tiring week.
Been flying out everywhere.
I have, but then again, I can't complain because I've been off for so much here the last month and a half that it's about time for my ass to get back to work. But I'm still going to complain regardless.
I know. I mean, you get a week off. Just go fishing.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I mean, who's complaining about that?
I still am. It wasn't long enough. No.
Did you get to fish any?
I fished some. Yeah, fished crappie and a couple striper trips here and there. Ain't right yet, but it's getting there. So I mean, I'd say it's about right now, honestly.
So I was planning on going Friday, and honestly, I might do High Rock.
They're biting.
Haven't decided between that and Baden.
I'm going to Baden tomorrow. You can probably catch them on High Rock right now. But seems like they're doing pretty good in Baden lately. It's kind of hit and miss, man. They'll bite for 2 days on Baden, and then they'll shut down for 2 days. And the 2 consecutive days I went on Baden, they chewed. That one evening I went, and the very next day I only had 2 bites all morning. So, yeah. And they were gone. I mean, gone. But they're back now, so yeah.
Were the birds working?
Not really. I'm going to say there's maybe a couple dozen picking here and there, but they weren't really, working like you would think for striper, if that makes sense.
Big bait balls?
Pretty good, yeah. Scattered, but big bait balls. I will say that, again, I've only been on there for 2 days this fall, I guess, but I will say that I've seen less bait this year than I have last year. So it might have been the days I was out there, possibly, I don't know, but yeah.
Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to go to freshwater if I get to fish. I think our weather offshore has just been terrible. I mean, inshore sucked ass, but offshore, terrible. I mean, they're getting their ass beat 5 and 6 miles off the beach now down there. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, man, it's been a rough season. It's been a rough couple of years, really.
It wasn't as bad last year. I'd been fishing 3 times this time last year.
And you know what? I set all this time off to go offshore, and well, you can't do it. So yeah, sucks to suck, man.
Well, before we get on the subject, Pete, are you what's good for y'all in Chesapeake Bay? John said he's still down regardless. Last year those fish stayed up there until about the first week of February. I would say if it's kind of the same pattern, I would say maybe the week after the first, like maybe January the 2nd.
I gotta double check, but that might be kind of tough right after New Year's. So remember the Striped Bass Challenge, the Hartwell tournament is, what is it, the 5th, 4th, somewhere thereabouts? Is that right, John?
First weekend.
Yeah. So I'm saying that the actual date is the 4th of January.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we can try to hit it the week after Christmas, maybe the 26th, 27th.
Oh, I can't do.
Might be out this trip then.
Yeah, that's fine. Plan around me. Don't plan for me at all.
All right. Well, John, it's me and you then.
January is going to be a training month for me. So I'm going to have a 6-day period where I'll be in Denver training at some point. Don't know when yet, but I'll know that by the 14th of December, I guess. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, we could try for the 2nd week of December, but you're that busy too then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right,
I'm off the first week of December practically.
No, I said the 2nd week.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm off the first week. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, John, it looks like
it's man, plan around me, man. Don't worry about me.
I mean, I can get us a group together.
3 would be perfect. 4, we could do 4. So if you want to get 2 more.
Yeah, I mean, I could at least talk to my fishing partner, my brother-in-law, Lane, see if he wants to go.
Oh, boy.
Not Chris.
Oh,
Chris might go or Justin. Yeah, I got people and call.
Well, I was going to say I could get 2 more people too, but whatever you want to do. Like I said, if it wasn't for y'all, I wasn't even going to go this year. Yeah. I was going to leave my boat where it's at, and I mean,
we can take my boat up there, Wes. If you just want to drive, we can take my boat up there. If you just want to drive.
Well, I don't care.
I mean, I'm closer.
You got a pretty big boat. Would it take the bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as long as it's not 3 to 5s in the bay.
Okay.
I mean, 2 to 3s are good. 3 to 4s you're gonna get wet, but I mean it'll handle it.
Well, 3 to 4 is pretty rough on my boat.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, let's talk about trailers.
Speaking of towing, how ironic to jump in there. Talk about trailers. There you go. Go ahead.
If anybody has fished long enough, or any length of time, if you haven't yet, you're gonna have issues with a trailer. I don't give a damn how much maintenance you do on them, how much you keep your wheels greased, or if you've got oil, or what do they call them, self-lubricating bearings, with the oil. What do they call them, John?
Yeah, oil bearings.
Oil bearings. You're going to have issues with a boat trailer. You pull one enough. I've had flat tires. I've had the only bearing I ever had go out on me, though, I was actually backing in my yard when I had that C-Pro, and I had just backed it under my shed. And I was walking and looked at the back, and the very back wheel, I didn't even notice it until I was backing in, was just wobbling. And I brought that thing, I was coming from Clarks Hill, and that thing was wobbling. And when I jacked the trailer up, it fell off.
Damn, you got lucky.
Yeah, that's probably the luckiest thing's ever happened to me pulling a boat. But I've had issues over the years. Trailers, I bought a brand new trailer one time from David Strickland down at Strickland's Marine, and it was the trailer was kind of undersized for the boat. David said it would be fine, but it wouldn't. It wore out. I wore out 2 tires on one rim, one trip to Tennessee. So I took it back down there, and I paid the $800 difference, and he gave me a 5,200-pound rated trailer and never had another issue. But trailers, have y'all had a lot of issues? How many times have you ever broke down on the side of the road, John?
One time, going to the beach.
And one time's all it takes in your life.
Now I do it annually.
Yeah.
How about you, Pete?
I've been lucky, man. Knock on wood, because for anyone that tows a boat a lot, it's going to happen at some point, no doubt about it. Not to count flat tires. I think everyone's been there with a flat tire. But anything other than that, I've been lucky thus far with everything working properly. Now I do take care of my stuff pretty well as far as oiling everything, inflating the tires properly. I do check that shit religiously. As a matter of fact, last week I did the all 4 of my grease all the bearings, all 4 tires there. So yeah, I do check that often.
So mine was a flat tire, my one incident, and it was and I did not have a spare. And it was at like 6:30 on a Friday. I'd left after work. I was in Raleigh, and just so happened a Walmart had the exact trailer tire wheel, like the entire assembly. It was like a spare boat tire.
That's all they sell, I think, is the entire assemblies at Walmart.
Well, they happen to have that size in stock. I mean, I was calling around, because it was 6:30. A lot of places, part stores, tire shops were closed.
Yeah.
Part stores were still open, but Walmart had one, and I said from then on, and then I bought another trailer, and it doesn't have. That reminds me, I need to just go ahead and get a spare tire. Knock that out of the way.
Actually, when I do long road trips, I have a spare tire, and I also put just a regular tire with no rim in the back of my truck as well, just in case.
Well,
so I've been in bad situations where, you're halfway there and you blow a tire, but you got a return trip, and you wish you have an extra tire just in case, So, I always throw an extra spare in the back of the truck usually for long trips.
Have you ever noticed you can look at a lot of trailers and tell, especially the ones that they've got plastic fender wells, you can tell if they've ever blew out a tire? Because I'm going to tell you, they don't make even the metal ones. I've had one blowout on a tire years ago. I forgot where we were pulling that boat, and it tore an aluminum fender all to hell. I mean, it just bent the shit out of it.
Did it?
You running, I average speed, I'm running 60, 70, 75 miles an hour pulling a boat. And when one of those tires blow out and that rubber starts flapping, something's going to give, and it's usually your fender. I don't give a damn what kind of fender you got. I think aluminum's a little bit better if you want to use them for a step or to step up on your boat when it's trailered. But other than that, when you have a blowout on a trailer, you're going to tear something up.
I did have one other incident too, and I'll tell you guys this story because I know a lot of striper fishermen that fish live bait watch this, but I put a brand new bait tank. It was 48 gallon, 50 gallon, whatever, with the filter side, and put it up front and loaded it down. Everything, trailered it to Georgia. I was back or went to park it for the night at the hotel, and when I parked it, I was looking at the back and I was like, damn, I raised the jack like way down. Like, is my hitch too high up? And then after I jacked it up, got it off my truck, I went back and I looked at it, and the tongue was like this. You know, like it was bent at the bow, and you know, because there's a piece that runs the trailer tongue. There's a piece that runs down there, and it had just bent. Like, it was so much weight from the bait tank on the bow of the boat, and just going down the highway, hitting the, you know, potholes and stuff. It was putting force on the trailer. So, anyways, I noticed that there. I still had to get 6 hours back, so we went and got some C channel and braced it up and drove it back. The trailer manufacturer, I just bought the trailer, it was a year old with the boat, and trailer manufacturer covered it under warranty, sent me a new trailer tongue with an upgraded beam, but they told me that the weight limit can't exceed, you know, X amount up front, and also you're supposed to use a bow tie down strap, which I did not know. Do you do a bow tie down? Like,
what is that?
So it's in their manual. She sent me the manual because I told her, I was like, I didn't. Yeah, we strap it. She sent me the manual. It is after you know, winch it tight to the, you know, rubber. You're supposed to take a strap and run it through the eyes, and it's supposed to go down. So you got two, you know, one long piece over, and then you tie it to that front post that holds the rubber. But they still covered it under warranty, but it was after the trailer place repaired it, put the beam. I had to pay for the labor for them to replace the beam. They charged me like $700. I was like, never again will I put a bait tank on the front of the boat loaded with water. Bait.
So, you know, with that said, another reason why to use artificial, not live bait.
I wanted to use artificial after our last Smith Mountain adventure.
Oh, yeah?
We got skunked there. We fished around the top 5 teams all morning and got skunked. I don't know what it was.
Did they live bait?
They live bait. And the guy that, well, he was 5th. He normally finishes first, Squid Hound. He pulled beside us all day long. He left for 1 hour, went somewhere else, which he could have caught a fish there. But I was pretty much in sight of him all day. I never even saw him catch a fish. So I was like, I don't know. And then we saw, you know, 3 or 4 other boats that were in there that all caught. Same location. I don't know what it was. We did not have good bait, though. I will say that. It was all small, like 5-inch gizzard shad. Just like dollar bill was the biggest we had. And normally we go for, you know, those Mongos, 12-inch.
You doing Santee?
So I'm trying to. I'm thinking yes. Yeah.
So as soon as I get done here, I'm going to pay the entry fee here in a second. I saw I was actually getting ready to do it, and then Wes sent me the final invite for this right here. So yeah. But
is Cody out?
Cody's doing it as well.
Nice.
That's the plan.
I gotta see if
he better do it. It's a damn championship. He was there for all 3 of them, so you know he better be there for the final.
Maybe Chris will partner up with me. We have a family event going on that day, and I don't think I'm gonna go, but I might be shunned if I go. But well.
So. Definitely count me in for
did it call again? Such fire just restricted it
for JR.
Yeah, I think JR's got a cold tonight. Him 6. Yeah, I know.
We need to
He's about to say you can
Do we
actually.
need to get a GoFundMe page for him?
What's that?
Do we need to get a GoFundMe page for him?
For who, JR?
Yeah.
I don't get no damn GoFundMe for no catfish fisherman. Come on.
Did you see that thing you put up, Denzel Washington talking about a cat? I'm like, Denzel Washington's probably never seen but 2 or 3 catfish in his life.
But yeah, no, anyways, John. Yeah, go ahead, and if you can plan the Airbnb for all that, I'm definitely in for that for sure. So
For Santee.
well, yeah, do Santee, but for
Hartwell.
Hartwell, yep.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get something
dog friendly, of course.
For both of them.
Be good luck, John.
I think I'm gonna fish. Speaking of Santee, I think I'm gonna fish the lower lake this time around, which would be Moultrie.
Never been, so we'll play around, figure it out.
So if you're on, let's see if I can see if I can share this.
Your boy's watching, Pete.
Who's that?
Keith.
Oh.
He said y'all talking about lake fishing. He's snoring. Hey, at least they can get out there to lake fish. Hell, I'm thinking about buying me another boat and selling my offshore boat. Hell, I can't use the damn thing.
You won't do such a thing.
No, I'm not.
Shouldn't have sold your lake boat, man. You'd have had it.
Listen, I ain't had time to use it. I was just telling John week before last, I sold 5 jobs. 5. Never sold 5 jobs. I'm talking about I installed 5 systems in a week. Then last week I had 2 service calls. This week I'm doing my second service call tomorrow.
Oh.
Go figure. But as soon as it hits that 30-degree morning right there, it'll be on again. So
get you come over, replace my unit here at some point. It's a ticking time bomb.
Really?
Yeah, damn thing. It worries me, man. It's old as fuck. I got to get you details here at some point about what I exactly have, but that fucker is older than hell.
Daryl Barney said, y'all want to get Daryl on here?
Sure, why not? Yeah, absolutely. I try to get Daryl to go fishing with me tomorrow, but no, his ass got to do that thing called work.
Oh, no, he'll take off to go with Todd Asher.
I bet so.
So Santee, let me see if I can share this. Share screen.
All right, Daryl, you got an invite. But
can you see this?
Let's see. Let me add it. I think I have to add it to stage here. And once I do, I'll get it off. Let's see. There we go.
So Santee, if you zoom out, it's 2 lakes, and you cannot fish the canal, the rules. But because I know you were talking about that earlier, Wes.
Yeah.
Before we aired. But we stayed right here in this single wide trailer, which wasn't bad. It was like $100 a night. And we fished this river, or this creek right here. I can't think of the name of it. Oh, Waibu. Waibu.
Is that what was the name of it again?
Waibu.
Oh.
So we fished Waibu. We fished this whole area in here at this point, and we smacked them the day before. And then on tournament day, we were still marking them. They were in the same areas, nothing. And we were the only boat fishing there. So I told Lane, I was like, all right, let's venture out. And when you come out of this point right here, Pete, all you see, and you can't see it on Google Maps, but all you see is stumps, trees. I mean, like the whole entire lake is stumps and trees. This whole area is. And so you have to run along this dam right here all the way down if you want to get to this side of the lake. Well, we were running about 40 mile an hour. It looked like a channel, through here. My Garmin showed it. You got plenty of water, but if you look out like 15 to your 15 feet to your right, there's stumps. 15 feet to your left, there's stumps. Well, we were running like 40 mile an hour, and I swear I was following this perfect line, and I looked over, I could have grabbed or smacked a stump with my hand. That's how close we were to that thing. And I told Lane, I was like, I'm backing down.
Hey, I hate to interrupt. John, stop your cursor right there. Where's it at?
Right here.
Okay, go back up a little bit.
Yep.
Oh, keep going. Keep going. Now go right a little bit. Now come back down. Now go back to your left. Now go up just a little bit. But right in there.
There's an island.
Yeah, right off that island's where I knocked the transom off of my boat. And I knocked the transom out of it, knocked the motor completely out of it, and I made it back to Harry's Fish Camp and said never again, and I've never been back on that lake.
Might be this island right here. We fished these islands too. Just whatever we did on tournament day, they weren't having it. But I did hear that the tournament fish, like 19 pounds, I can't remember exactly what it was caught down here at the dam on the lower lake in the dam area. So, and I think this is much more fishable water. Like you don't have these. At least
the lower lake is a lot more friendly as far as less stumps and stuff.
Hey, and I was coming back one night, and right before you get to Harry's, can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, Harry's is down here.
Okay, Harry's should be right there. No.
Yeah, this is it.
That Harry's right there?
Yep.
Okay, go back up. See where the color changes in the water changes?
Yep.
This first island right here. Go back up. Little island right there on the left. Mm-hmm. Right east of that island, I kept hearing, I was using back then, I just had an old handheld spotlight. And I kept hearing stuff like a ticking sound. And I said, damn, I said, what is that? And I looked at Chris, I said, you hear something? He said, yeah. And I turned the light on, dude, and listen, y'all think I'm making this up, and I'm not. I bet there was 400 or 500 herring on the boat. They were just, I don't know if it was the boat running the way we were running. I've never seen bait do that before. It was all over the deck of that pontoon boat. I had the front gate open. It had done come back past the gate and all over the front of the boat. And I didn't even know herring would do anything like that. Because we were running with no light, just our running lights. Sorry, Daryl, I just noticed you was there, buddy. Sorry about that. But
I got you.
Insane, but yeah.
Oh.
Don't care nothing about that upper lake no more. If you don't really know what you're doing up there, you better go in. Oh, and I also knocked the trolling motor out of a bow.
Yeah.
Hit a trolling motor one time. You could just hear the fiberglass just popping and cracking. So I hadn't lost nothing on that lake, and I never need to fish it again.
Trust me, both of them's tough. You can tear up
stuff. Moultrie ain't nothing like Marion is.
No, it ain't as bad, but they both tough.
Moultrie is about 90% stumps. And what happened was when Hurricane Hugo came through, Marion used to look like a forest. It was almost like an impoundment in a forest. Hugo came through and broke off thousands and thousands of trees, and it broke them off at water level. That's why you got all those stumps there.
Yeah, that place was dangerous. I was riding around.
Yeah, it's totally different than Marion is. Than Moultrie. To me, it's a totally different world.
And we had the live scope down. I've got some videos somewhere, but there were some huge catfish on the bottom of that lake. I mean, you could see them just clean as day. Like, I mean, talking 4 foot, you count the blocks on the live scope. I had in like 5 foot sections. They'd be the whole 5 foot span, big,
As big as Volkswagens?
Yeah, probably. Actually, speaking of Volkswagen, I got a video on that lake too. There's a pontoon boat, that has a Volkswagen shell on top of it. And we had been drinking, the day before the tournament. That boat comes riding by, and I was like, "What the?" I was like, "Is that a damn car driving on the lake?" It's a freaking Volkswagen on like a little 12-foot pontoon boat, just hauling ass.
It was a Trophy Blue sitting on top of it.
Hey, watch now. Denzel Washington catfishes too.
That was hilarious. You got to give it to him. The shit he's been putting on there has at least been funny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a catfishman, maybe, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, man.
It's that apex predator thing gets me. Whatever.
Now, what is a apex predator? Is that just a fish that eats live fish?
It's the top part of the food chain.
Yeah, top of the food chain is what he's trying to say when he says that.
No,
Yeah.
the only thing in fresh water that I know is top of the food chain is a gar.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in fresh water that I know of that'll eat a gar. Can y'all think of anything that a gar is scared of?
I don't know. Don't know. Good question.
But anyway. Daryl, how much trailer trouble have you had over the years?
How much what?
Trailer trouble hauling a boat.
Yeah, I mean, some. When I first started, like 20 years old, I bought an old ski boat that I was trying to fish out of. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It was trying to think of the name of it, like a Conroy. Pretty big boat with a 115 old 6-cylinder with the 3 carbs on it. And it had little 12-inch tires on it. It didn't have those little fat ones. I mean, it had little bitty skinny 12s. I remember going across underneath Highway 70 going to Lake Norman with it. And I just heard boom right underneath the bridge. I mean, and it blew out underneath the bridge. And I tell you how long ago it's been. I still got I bought a baby floor jack in one of those plastic cases at Kmart. And Kmart had a spare tire, the wheel bearings, and everything I needed right off the exit. So kind of lucky. I mean, for what it would, to have trouble on the side of the road. But that was my first experience.
Exactly same experience, except
and
mine was
I literally still carry that little jack with me that I bought at Kmart. I ain't got any idea what name's on it, but it still works great. I've always kept it in a truck toolbox or carried I got a box that I put some tools in and throw in my family SUV, as you call it, Wes. And
Hey, I got one now. I can't say nothing.
But yeah, it's other than not too bad. I'm pretty good about, honestly. Johnson said I'm a firm believer in those oil bath bearings. So he had that boat for 5 years when I bought that black boat, and you know how heavy it is. So
yeah.
I actually did all the wheel bearings in it, replaced everything, and all new synthetic oil and that. And thank goodness I hadn't had any trouble. But I think I'm going to do tires this year. Well, I know I'm going to. So.
Well, the only thing, one of the best things, other than the fact I don't have to load and unload a boat, is leaving my boat down there at that marina and not trailering it everywhere. I don't have to worry about trailer issues.
Well,
fact, right?
I don't know whether Peter probably knows from hearing me talk, but John, I don't drag my boat back and forth to Tennessee. It stays at the campground, and I mean, there would be no way I'd be able to fish as much, or I just wouldn't do it. It'd be like a nightmare.
It's a pain in the ass, ain't it? Towing long distance. It really is.
Me and Todd was talking the other day. He's like, "What do you think it weighs?" And I was like, "Well, I'm thinking probably 7,000, maybe more, especially when I got all the bait tanks loaded." But I run a 75 and a 50, a true 75 and a true 50 in a males, and then that creek bank. And most of the time, I'm always pulling it with both of them full of bait, full of water. So it's but it's on a 6-inch. I guess you call that that's an I or H beam.
Yeah, the tongue beam.
Yeah, it's a 9,600 pound trailer. So with like 6,000 pound axles, that's a 6 lug. So it carries it, but it has just unbelievable tongue weight. Is the worst thing is. You either got to have bags or like my Denali has those shocks, like a airbag over a shock. It really works good for it. So.
Did that come on, or did you have to buy them?
No, it actually comes on the Denali. So I had to replace it all when I had bought it, but not with any. I put supposedly like an upgraded aftermarket shock. They were bad when I had bought the vehicle, but the GM ones didn't last very long.
Are you saying my Denali would tow your boat?
Well, I don't know, Wes. I was going to buy a new truck, and I called, and they didn't have in like the 2014, I think it's 2014 or 16, they quit using the airbag shock and went to something else. So I don't know.
I think mine's a 22.
Yeah, but I don't. It doesn't have the air over, so I don't know what the capacity wise. Yes, whether it'll level it out or not is I don't know. I mean, it literally puts the bumper before the shocks turn on. It'll set that Denali or any truck I've had. So when I bought that boat, I had a 3/4 ton Chevrolet, like early 2000s. And I mean, it literally stood the front end up on that 3/4 ton. And I was like, oh,
damn.
I bought a new set of Monroe, and they were coilovers. They were actually the heaviest shock I could find with a coilover built on them. And they didn't help at all. So anything I'm hoping the truck I got now, I haven't hooked it to it yet, but I'll probably end up having to bag it. It's somewhere in the thousands, 3/4 ton.
That's crazy. You never had tongue issues, because I've always heard 10%.
I'll be honest. I'm thinking it's probably over 1,500 pound on the tongue one. The wheels, if you ever saw it, I know Pete saw it. The wheels are always at the back of that trailer, and plus the gas tank's towards the front, which I don't fill it up. It's 28 foot to start with, but the batteries are there. Of course, I took 400 pound out of the front end after I bought it when I went to lithium, which helped just a ton as far as. But it's just unbelievable. It's a monster. I tell everybody I absolutely love that boat, but I love it when I get it to the water.
That's right.
Does it have brakes on it?
No. Anthony Johnson literally ordered that trailer with no brakes. What he told me when I said, who in the hell would literally do that? He said, if you ain't got a damn enough truck, buy a better damn truck. Evidently, sometime in his guiding career, he must have had nightmare troubles with brakes, because I have no idea why you would order that trailer with no brakes.
Whew. Remind me not to get in front of you on a long trip coming down a mountain.
So it's an easy loader trailer that was, and that's the first thing pops up when I've ordered my bearings and a spare hub and stuff like that from it. The guy said, wow, the first option it says is no brakes on this trailer. And I was like, yeah, because Easy Loader out of Concord or Charlotte, the parts guy down there they got like one guy who does everything, and he's like, that's kind of unique, and it has this weird hitch on the front of it, which I had never figured out. So where instead of being like a sleeve where it goes back, it comes out and goes up like 3 inches and then out so it's not level with the frame of the trailer. And I literally have to take my hitch and the hitch is level with the ball is level with the top of the bumper to be able to level the trailer. It was always that way with Anthony had it. He said the trailer just came that way, and I don't see why it was ever that way. It's really weird if you ever look at it. It's
JR, you want to come on? You want me to send you a link? I see JR's watching. He might be feeling better. Well, like I said, I like leaving my boat. I'm telling you, man, it's just cool as shit. It's worth $350 a month when I do want to go. I don't have to back a boat in. I don't have to pull a boat out. I go in there and get on it, go fishing. When I get done, wash it down and leave it. And I know it's took care of. So, but I think they're going up next year. I heard they were going up to $450. If they do, I'll bring it home. I'm not paying $450 a month to leave it down there. Pete, what are you paying at your marina now?
300 roughly.
Really?
Yep.
So I'm paying $350.
That's outdoor.
Yeah, mine's outdoor, but it's up on a rack.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, if they keep that up, I might bring mine down there where yours is.
Yeah. Well, it might be $350 for you because it's a longer boat. So I'm paying for a 22 foot.
Okay.
Yours being longer, maybe about $350 actually.
All right.
You pull it like 2 or 3 times, you'll give that extra 100.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
you
know,
got to
right?
draw a line somewhere, brother. I mean,
Well, I mean, or move somewhere different.
yeah. Well, I got a friend's house I could leave it at down there, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name. Sometimes I don't know whether he's liable to go off the deep end one day, and my boat not be there when I go to use it. Bobby, my boat mechanic, he said there's a guy. Hell, he told me his name. I tell you may know him. He said, Wes, he's right there by your marina, Pete. He said he's got a boat yard there, and he charges $200 a month.
Yep.
But there's no cover over nothing. You can just leave your boat parked there, and there's a gas station right beside him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've actually considered to take my boat there here soon. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking about
so the only issue I have with that place though is there's boat storage, but there is no place to wash down. So you got to wash.
That's what he said, and there's no power. So
Yeah.
that was the only another thing I was worried about. Unless you brought it, I could take a generator with me. I got a small generator to charge my batteries the night before.
Solar maintainer.
Yeah. And then you've got to put a boat cover on it. If you care about your boat or want to try to maintain it, then you have to cover it up and uncover it. But $200 a month versus $450 a month, I don't believe it would hurt me to cover a boat up. I mean,
yeah.
You still fishing tomorrow, Pete, or the rain got you?
I'm going tomorrow. But I don't know if it'll be High Rock. I might be going to Baden instead.
Rain's supposed to be out here, isn't it?
Oh, it's dumping in my house right now. I mean,
it is down here. It's here. It's busting here in Greenville too.
We lost them.
You got a guide trip, or are you just going solo?
Fun fishing. No one, people are really afraid to spend money now. I mean, I see it. Even trying to book guide trips, people don't want to spend the cash. It was starting to get bad last year around, around March, April, and I see it even worse now, honestly.
Got me wanting to play hooky.
I think tomorrow's gonna be a good one. Like I said, I know someone that went this evening and he busted their ass pretty good, and he's one that does not know what the fuck he's doing. So yeah.
All right, JR, I just sent you an invite. And JR wants to know, let's see, where's his comment? I see it on my page. I don't see it on here. He wants to know where you caught all those fish at, where you caught those white crappie at, Pete.
Right here.
Right in the side of the
mouth. In the mouth right here.
You didn't catch none of them in the top lip?
I got a couple in the top lip, but mostly right here like that. Yeah. Live scoping in the main lake. It was a fucking challenge. It really was. Yeah. That was more work than I had planned to do. It was good fishing, man, but shit. When them crappie are moving, it's hard to stay on it, man.
I've heard what people getting out there and fishing. They say the wahoo is on fire out there right now on the ledge. I've heard it is just total fire right now.
Yep, those that can get out.
And I hadn't even found one. I don't give a damn what day it is. If I could get one day to go right now, I would go. And I can't even find one day to get out.
Yeah.
It's terrible. John, when's the last time you fished?
Smith Mountain Lake, the 1st of November. That was had bait tank issues that day. I bought a brand new bait tank last year. Chiller bait tank, had a mag pump on it, 2 mag pumps. And we go catch bait. I noticed that the pump wasn't running. So we get back. Luckily, some guy had an extra pump. We kind of rigged something up. Anyways, I've only used the bait tank maybe 6 times in a year. So I called the guy up and he was like, I can't warranty it. I quit selling them with the mag pumps because apparently those mag pumps, if they're not run often enough, they will seize up.
What kind of tank was it, John?
Chiller bait tank.
I gotcha.
They're insulated, which they're nice, but I paid about $1,500 for them.
I bought a new creek bait, like $2,000. Got a little off of it. Supposedly pro guides or pro staff deal through Doug Cole. I got the third 75 that they made. Anyway, it had the magnetic drive, and I didn't realize it right in the head of it because they're an aquarium pump, even though they're 12 volt. They had a filter, like that black, really dense filter material in the cap of it. So $200 worth of trout later we pulled off the exit there, Wes, at McDonald's going to, where you get off at Carthage.
Oh, yeah. Right beside the motel.
That's where it decided to quit. I'd had probably 100 gizzards in it twice, where we'd been caught bait, and where they had slimed it up and didn't realize. I pulled all those pumps out. Those things were in the head of it. And I called the guy from Creekbank. He's like, "Oh man, I forgot to tell you to take those out." He said, "You got to take them out inside." He said, "Because if I send them in for warranty, you got to have that little filter." But he said, it runs on its own filter system, so the slime from it had stopped those black, like, it looks like what comes in a super bait tank, but they're black. They're even denser than any filter you ever seen. And it's like, it was a nightmare. But anyway, I tell everybody who buys a Creekbank with a magnetic drive to pop those out as soon as you get it.
So this is what that assembly looks like, and we had just caught. I don't know. We worked for, it was onesie twosies every time he threw the net. They'd scatter, and we spent about 3 hours catching bait. Probably had 3 dozen, and I looked down and I was like, "Damn, that water is dirty. It's not filtering out." And this piece right here, the mag pump on top, just wasn't pumping, wasn't doing anything. It still had a Venturi tube, so there's another mag pump down here, Venturi tubes hooked to, and I think that's what kind of makes these tanks really nice, because you got 2 pumps. One, it draws more power, but it's really circulating, putting the oxygen to the bait. I always notice the bait's more frisky in this tank than my old Baker, but he ended up sending me. I had to buy it, but he's moved away from the mag pump back to the
Yes,
traditional pumps.
They don't work for anything but a 50, but the Creekbank magnetic drives are 570. I've been running it for 2 years, and I literally went through either rules, and I was running SureFlow pumps, everything we've used. There's 4 of us in a group up there who just ran through pumps, and I've never touched them. I put them in my males and in the other one, and mine runs 2, so it has the exact same pump. So that Creekbank comes with 2 570s in it, and they run on Danco's, and then it has a 110 that you can run, which is like 800. I think it's 700 or 800. So when I get back and set everything up, I usually leave one pump still running on the DC and then run the other one. And if I do that, I've lost so much bait from over the years of losing pumps. I've lost, I couldn't tell you how many that's quit. If you ever hear it squeal, they're done. But I'm telling you, those things are fail proof. The Creekbank guy says that he ran one continuously for 9 months. And these don't have any issue with setting and like whatever you're talking about, lock it up.
And that was a mag pump?
Well, you get them. I tried to buy them somewhere else because I figured, well, if Creekbank's got them for that. But Creekbank sells them for $70. They're just called magnetic drive. I'm telling you, it is the absolute. It is the way to go. I got like 10 people running them now. We have, as far as I know, hadn't one of them failed yet. But it's only 570 gallon per hour. So for like my 75, I run 2, which is how it comes. But it works good for a 50. I know it'll work up for. That's what I got in my 50-gallon males, and it works really good.
Hey Wes, JR's asking for your link again. I think it's JR at least.
Oh, okay.
But I bought the like a stone and the looks like the 110 little industrial looking pump, and I run air on all my tanks. Well, I don't own that one, but I run on the other tanks a separate air off the 110 voltage, every
All
night.
right,
Lost so much.
hey, talking about catching bait. Watch this, John. Let's see. I don't know if you've seen this video. I got to get it where I can then move my finger because it ain't long. Damn it. Let's see.
Is that your first cast net throw?
Hell, by the time it gets in focus, you're not going to be able to see it. Damn it. Hold on.
We seen it on Facebook for dang 2 weeks already.
John didn't see it, though.
I'm sure he did. He
I saw it.
Oh, you didn't see it? All right.
I saw Pete wrote something. Wes caught that 72 Viking or whatever that was beached.
Oh.
I started dying laughing. I was like,
yep.
Oh.
So is that way? It's like a half a pound per foot net, looks like.
I just know it was an 8-foot net with half-ounce weights on it. I don't know. 3/8 weights. I'm sorry. 8 foot, 3/8.
3/8 hole, you mean?
Buddy, yeah. I don't know. It's 3/8. It said 3/8 weight.
It was a cheap Walmart net, Daryl. That's all you got to know.
Maybe somebody called Old Salts. I don't know. Whatever they sell at Big Fish Outfitters.
They're bets.
That's Old Salt.
Old Salts.
Yeah.
And to add to the shittier Smith Mountain trip, had a brand new Phi-Tech 10-foot tape net. Second fucking throw on top of a tree. And we've pulled nets off trees, hook it to a cleat and it usually comes off. Some of the monos rip, whatever, replace it. That son of a bitch broke at the handle, like at the horn, snapped off. I said, son of a bitch, $250 net, literally second throw broke.
So I have a brand new Phi-Tech that's in my shed that I won last year. Then the tournament. Ain't use it yet.
It's taped.
I think it is. Yeah, 10-footer.
Do you have to have a $200 net to catch bait? I mean,
John, how in the
deep
foot of water do you pull up a 10-foot tape net? I mean, they are them tape nets. So I bought a couple 6-footers that I've been throwing, and they've been working good. So my tape nets are 6 because them bastards, they'll kill you in 20 foot of water trying to pull it up.
Well, we've got an 8, so we got an 8. I just bought a 10, and then I've got a heavy. It's like a pound and 1 3/4. It's a bait buster net. It's a 9-foot net, but that one literally closed. You got to be in 8 foot of water. You can watch it go on the live scope. Yeah. But those tape nets, man, they stay open. And the bait at Smith Mountain, or at least it was scarce when we were down there, but it was deep. So if you had a tape net, you were getting bait. But it was, by the time it got down there, you'd see all the bait scatter.
Yeah. I watched Anthony this year. We were over at only catch in the spring, but he was throwing a 10-foot 1.6 and a 5/8. I was amazed at how much it closed in, like 18 foot. But it sinks really, really fast with a 5/8 mesh. That makes
you flopping.
I didn't realize how much difference the mesh size makes, versus dude. It's a 1.6 or 1.7. It's a beast to throw.
Yeah, and I think it's 1.75. It's 9 foot, and it's a bait buster. It's a 1/2-inch mesh, but you throw that 3-4 times, you're done. I mean,
what I meant was just pull it up. When I pull up, I mean, it's like they're full every time, and it's got
Well, I got a question, and there again, I'm not no bait catcher. I'm just learning how to throw a net now. But what can you catch? What are you going to catch with a 10-foot net that you can't catch with an 8-foot net?
A lot.
Deeper, and the way that they scatter, like you'll watch them if you throw a smaller net, like if you watch it on live scope, and I've got some videos.
Wes, do you know what I catch in the spring? What we were after? You can't catch them with an 8-foot, and they will with a 10. That's how fast they ran out from under, and it's just L-wise what I'm talking about. They're so fast.
That bait will move.
Well, hell, y'all talking about net? Y'all, these big time bait catchers, why don't you get you a fucking 12 or 16 like them little bitty Chinese boys do that's about peach size and throw that son of a bitch and spread it out and make it cover a house?
So legally in Tennessee, you can't throw over a 10.
I think it's the same way I think in
There,
Virginia.
I'm gonna tell you something I learned on Lake Norman that actually worked for the Elwise. Smaller nets or even a 10-footer catch more. So you know how they scatter a lot of times. You throw the net and they're gone. I have found that when you throw that net, a lot of times if you like pop the boat in gear, whether it's reverse or forwards, pop it in and out briefly. And for some reason, just the noise of that, of the gear switching, I guess, they feel that underwater, they hear it, and they change directions again. So therefore, they're scattered from the net, and then all of a sudden they go right back to where they come from.
Well, what about when you see these guys? I've seen my first time I ever seen somebody, and it actually worked, was Mike Smedley. He found some bait, and he was circling it with the boat wide open, real small circles, creating air bubbles. He said, and it distorts the bait fish. I guess they won't swim out of it when you're creating all them air bubbles down there. And then when you throw a net, he said they'd almost swim up into it. Y'all ever heard of that?
That works on pogies. I don't think it works in freshwater.
He was saltwater fishing, yeah. So maybe
it works on pogies, and I think you also have to be like in the back of like a creek, like
run everything.
The water's not moving, out in the ocean.
To be honest, I don't know that West, but that's what we were throwing on. Honestly, it was. We would have to find it like by the littler thousands where they're 30-foot wide. And I think the ones we were actually catching, Pete, were running into the net. You know what I mean? Like you say. And that I'll try that. That's not a bad idea. Anything. It's I'm amazed since I started with the live scope, of how many bait that run out from underneath your net right at the last foot. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And I'm also amazed at how narrow, even in like, let's say 12, 14 foot of water, is how little a 10 foot gets. Because, you can literally see it. It's drawn down to about 6 foot. It's drawn down from 20 foot open, like, perfect circle to less than half for sure. And at 20 foot, it's worse than that, right? Non-tape net, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I know everybody loads nets different. The guy that was showing me how to load it, he said some people put stuff, they'll put it over so much of the net over their shoulder. Some people hold it in their mouth. I don't know. I guess do you load them different depending on how big the net is? Or like, do you load an 8 foot the same way you would a 10 foot or a 12 foot net? Or do you load them different depending on how big the net is or how much the weight says on the bottom?
I mean, I load mine the same way, but I've never thrown a 12-foot net, but I do want to learn to throw one. And I watched this guy do it, and he loads it completely different. I think he folds it like 3 times before he grabs it. Where I just split it in half.
The Chinese can probably show us some things. Them little bitty cheeks, they can throw the shit out of a net.
Hell yeah.
Crazy, dude.
Well, I know this guy, and his dad they used to own the bait shop there, whatever that is, around where you're at. Get Andrew to show you how he throws it. He does a half deal, holds it in each hand and pitches it. Andrew Marchbanks can throw it. He has the easiest way to throw a net I've ever saw as far as simplistic, and he'll show you how to throw a 10 in like 5 minutes.
A lot of times it ain't throwing it, it's loading it. That's what confuses me when I'm loading it.
Andrew splits his in half, like makes everything in half like forward. I can't remember. He showed me in Tennessee how to load it, and I didn't. We stood there. We went out and caught bait, and I lost everything that I had that day from him. I throw it a whole different way because it's all. I mean, I'm not very good with a 10-foot net at all. So, not close, but it's especially. I can throw a light 10. I just can't throw those big gigantic 10s.
I heard Shane Reel's probably one of the best net throwers up there around y'all's area.
Well, you saw how Johnson throws one, but I mean, Johnson's got the most complicated way of loading one. But I'm telling you, looks like a parachute fell out there every time. You saw him throwing that, Wes.
Yeah, I was with him catching bait one day. Well, that's the first time I'd actually ever seen live scope work.
Y'all don't be fooled. I might be I might be an artificial freaking clothes hanger troller, but I can throw a fucking net pretty good. You got to the beach.
I'll tell you who can throw a net good is Keith Wood's son.
Josh was telling me that Cody could throw the piss out of one.
I heard Shane Real could too.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of them big old muscular boys that's got a lot up here, they can throw the shit out of it. Anthony Johnson, I watched him throw that net continuously for 2 hours in fucking 90, 95 degree weather. I was like, I don't see how the hell he's doing this. And never listened. We had water in the cooler and never took a fucking drink of water in 2 hours, 90 degree weather, throwing a net. Never took a drink of water.
Here's some live scope footage of a net. Pulling up some, these are Threadfin.
John, you can do more on this shit than I can. This is my show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He knows how, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Knowledge, baby. But I bet I can fix this fucking air or heat if it breaks.
I bet you can fix your fucking computer if it breaks.
No, I doubt that.
See
Ready,
if it,
John?
yeah. So you can see the bait move here. This is on my old live scope that had the ghost tree. Oh my God.
So I just got mine updated. I ain't got it back yet. They were updating it while they're doing my 1,000-hour service. The guy told me that I had a guy with Anthony that
Hell yeah.
sponsored by, well, whatever. He's a Garmin dude. He told me that false tree and all that noise was going to leave even on my 32. Is that right, John?
The update will do it, yeah. The
he said I was literally like 10. I exaggerated a lot, but he said I was like 10 dates behind. I've had it for 2 years and I've never updated it.
oh yeah, you need to update bad.
Yeah,
So
they just did while they had it.
I bought the LVS 34 because of that issue, and I was so pissed off because they came out with that update that fixed it.
So I have the same thing with my 34. A little ghosting, kind of mid-range, give or take.
So
it irritates me. It really does.
So you make sure your firmware is up to date. And then the other thing that the guy told me on when you have yours hooked to your trolling motor.
The unit, no, I do not. It's on a stick.
It's on a stick. Okay. So if it is not perfectly vertical or perpendicular with the boat when it's going down, if it has any type of angle,
it does have a slight angle, so that it does.
And it's supposed to with that spacer, depending on how you mount it. But you can remove that spacer and get it perpendicular with the boat, and it'll start reading right.
Gotcha.
So do y'all live scope guys have like a basic 101 of your setup? I mean, like TVG off and
man, I will be honest with you, Daryl. So I had Shane, not Shane Real, but the crappy guy here in Lake. I can't think of the last name right. Washer. He jumped on my boat, tuned it up and everything. We played around with it. And for me, man, it's been more so trial and error every trip. So the first 2 trips I made out there, just kind of play around with it. Biggest thing is lining up your cast with the live scope. I mean, that's definitely the hardest thing, especially with a stick, for sure. But once you figure that out, then now it's time to figure out what you're looking at, whether it's crappie, bait, and everything. Like, give example, Saturday, that tournament I fished, I didn't pre-fish at all. So I'm scanning areas, and I like to scan about 100 feet in front of me. So I'm going. I see a big old pile of what looks like bait. And as you get closer, you find out whether it's bait or crappie. And then you keep on rolling, and then you see a nice cluster of 25, 30 fish. And I'm like, all right, there they are, So you try to ease up on them. And then as you zoom in, you're like, nah, them are 10-inch fish. I don't want them, So you keep on going to the next one. It's trying to figure out what's big, what's not, what's crappie, what's white bass, and everything else. So it's all really trial and error.
So I learned more the first year. Like I said, this was the second year I've used mine. Catching bait than anything. That's like,
yeah.
On my Garmin, if I got a mark and I know it's a fish, I don't know if y'all have ever used this option or not. I can touch the right side and hold it. Then I go over and touch the left side at the other point on the mark, and it'll tell me how long that mark is. I don't know if Lowrance, have you ever seen that on the Garmin?
No.
You can touch which side?
I never saw that.
You know what I'm talking about, Daryl?
You can zoom in. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I never saw it. I heard you say that one time before, though.
Yeah.
Like what he said is he touches each side of the screen where the fish is at, and then it tells him what the fish is, what the length is, Wes.
It'll tell you the length is. Yeah, it'll tell you what the length of that object is.
Huh. So on the live scope, you can see that it has blocks. You know, like depending on how far out you're zoom. You know, I always use forward facing, but I shoot usually 100 foot out. And in 100 foot, it'll either be 10 foot. I think it's 10 foot blocks or 5 foot blocks, and it has them horizontally and vertically.
So you're running 34. You're running 34, John.
I'm running 34. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, did from the 32 to the 34, did you get out? Because mine, when I ran 80 foot out, and it's like when I go to 100, it's like it just jacks the whole thing up. So I heard that was part of it. The 34, you could get a little further out, and then if you were, I would
do that with my 32 though.
I wouldn't use that with the depth. I mean, I won't ever need. I heard the 34 was better over 60 foot, but I was thinking about it
with sonar though, Daryl. So like,
if all of the noise leaves it, John, is there any need to upgrade?
No. No, there's a bunch of people pissed off about it too.
About what?
They were pissed off that they, kind of like me, they went and got the LVS 34 because they thought it was going to be, and it does have better detail, but the processing power behind how it stitches the image, it's all in that GLS, your black box, the GLS 10.
That's exactly what the guy at the Great Outdoors told me. He said, that is basically your amplifier, just like if you had a stereo amp. He said, until that box changes, it's not going to change that much. He said, I'm just telling you. He said, you're just, the transducer is not going to make until they increase the power of that box and you get a new box.
Let me ask you guys this question real quick.
It's been a while to figure out, and there's a mathematical thing. Like if you say you're, and there again, it depends on the depth of water, what sonar. I always like down imaging. I thought that was the best thing that ever happened to fishing. So down imaging is pretty much, and depending on the depth, how far your cone's going out right under your boat. Okay, so then you're moving along. Say you're trolling it, or you're looking for fish for down imaging 2D sonar, and you're going 2 miles an hour. As soon as you see those fish come up in your screen, how far are they behind the boat?
It depends on your scroll speed.
Yeah.
Depends
but it depends on how fast you're moving too, correct?
It's all about depth too. I mean, how deep are you?
How fast you're moving.
Everything depends on how deep the water is, how fast you're moving, how deep, how much your cone's going out versus 2D sonar versus down imaging.
Yeah. So
is that correct?
All of that factors in. There's a great video, and I studied up on it and watched it. I know electronics pretty well, but they talk about, with 2D versus live scope, the big thing is you can actually see the direction the fish is swimming. So like with traditional sonar, all you're doing is marking whatever's under your boat.
Yeah.
And in that moment in time. So you could get a skinny mark, and when you're looking at 2D sonar, you're looking for your darker shades. So like my color scheme is red. So if I see a hard red, that fish is right under the boat. Like he's probably fallen the boat, or I just ran over him, depending on the length. But when you're looking at live scope, you can see the direction the fish is swimming. You know how big he is. You know if he's hanging out under the boat. Like if you're jigging for him like crappie, you can sit there and watch to see if they like it, switch your bait out. I don't really use it. I don't care much for crappie fishing, but I do know when I first got it, that was like the best thing ever. You can sit over a hole.
What's your trolling speed? What's your average moving speed when you're using live? What's too fast?
Oh, I wouldn't go. I have mine hooked to the trolling motor, and I wouldn't go over 6 miles an hour. And I know a lot of people say you should never go anything with the trolling motor down, but it doesn't, if I have to replace a shaft, whatever, but it's not going to hurt anything at 7 mile an hour. Wouldn't go any faster than that. Yeah. You can use it as fast as you want, but even the pole mounts, I broke a pole mount and I never got another one.
On the poles, I got a video of that. That's the coolest thing where they put I guess somebody's making them, but where they put the trolling motors on the poles to brake. The crappy guys are doing it, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You're talking about where it's independent of the trolling motor and you can still maneuver it like if you're on spot lock?
No, what I'm talking about is they put a trolling motor on each power pole, and when they drop it.
Yeah. So that's the brakes.
Not the paddle brakes. They're actually
no.
All they're doing is an on-off switch, right?
So the way it works is if you're live scoping crappie, and so you want to cover a lot of water. That's the biggest thing. And so, like Saturday was a good example. I'm hauling ass on the main lake, and I have my screen set 100 feet in front of me, okay? And I'm hauling ass about 5 miles an hour. And I see that crappie in front of me. So now I hit the trolling motor in idle. What those trolling motors in the back of the boat do is you hit the switch, and it slams in reverse and slows your boat down. So therefore, you can get on that fish without spooking it, without, getting on top of it. Does that make sense, maybe?
I'll try to send you a video, John. I got it. It's or I'm sure it's the same one. But the guys were saying that if they just reversed their trolling motor, by the time they were on them, like let's say their front trolling motor, if they spin it around and hit reverse, that they would still spook the fish. And that was my question. You just answered it, Pete. I was wondering, damn, how fast are they running that they can't stop? So you're literally scanning with live at 5 mile an hour.
Dude, I'm scanning. I'm hauling ass scanning, just left and right. And if I see something, I'll turn the boat that way. But legit, 4 or 5 miles an hour, I see that fish 100 feet in front of me, and I turn everything off, and I want to coast to it the best I can. Now, mind you, keep in mind also that on Saturday when I was scanning, I was going that fast, but yet that wind was blowing 10 miles an hour. So I did not need that shit. The wind stopped me as it was. But I did see a lot of times, like I'd actually ease up on the fish and then spot lock about, I'd say 50 feet away roughly. And then at 50 feet, I'd use my trolling motor to, go forward, like 3 clicks. And just the noise of my trolling motor going forward would spook the damn fish that far away.
So what is this you put on the screen? Is that you, John?
Yeah, and I can send you those settings, but that's what I use. And obviously, these were pulled from different videos online where I've taken and kind of tinkered with it.
PVG off or low? I see.
Whichever gives you the better image. So that's the other thing, super important with even traditional sonar. Every lake is different. The clarity of the lake, that's the first thing you have to do is set your electronics up to read that lake. Your color gain.
That's the one thing I noticed is when I switched, I was trying to tell Johnson because he's like, no, don't touch my live scope. Shane said it. I said, man, you can't set it and just switch bodies of water and distance in and out. There's no setting. You know what I mean? There's no like absolute magic because I'm always playing with it. Really, when I see something I want to look at, obviously I draw it in, depth and the other, other than just auto. And I'm always with the gain. I'm changing the. What's your?
If y'all want to see some funny shit, you get Daryl Barney and Anthony Johnson on the same boat, looking at live scope trying to throw a net. That's like some Laurel and Hardy shit.
Yes, that's what you were telling me some time ago. Let me tell you what will fuck you up with live scope too, by the way, speaking of which. I'm learning this here the last several weeks. You're scanning, looking for crappie, whatever, and you see something ahead of you. It's like 5 feet below the water, below the surface there. I'm like, oh hell, there he is. So you're sneaking up on him, easing up on him, slow but sure. There's another one, and another one. You're like, oh hell, there they are. All 4 or 5 feet below surface, which is common for High Rock Lake. You ease up there, guess what it is? It's a fucking leaf in the water.
The trash.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
So
the
it'll
one
even
thing
see
I
that
found
shit
out,
that far out.
You got to
you
adjust
fish
your
Tennessee
gain if you're seeing
fall.
leaves.
I have it about 65%.
Well, when you're in Tennessee in the fall, well, I just went through this like last month was your market every there so the leaves would come off and then there's a certain amount that's floated down, and you just looked at for me there's so many that you're still marking them, but they're not swimming, right? So
Yeah. So John, to kind of sort of add to all this crappie fishing thing, a lot of times like when you're scanning, if you see that big, round thing on the screen, it's crappie, right? But he's sitting broadside. But a lot of times when you're scanning, that fish might be sitting like that. And you don't pick him up as good. So you got to adjust that gain a little higher to kind of sort of see that, it's not a round shape. It's more so like a, kind of a triangle-ish shape, maybe better explained. But yeah, oftentimes, if you have a gain set kind of low, it will not see that at all. At least it might look like just a little ordinary perch or something.
So it depends on, and I primarily use it for bait, catching bait. But when I am fishing, I'll put it on looking for striper, and I go high gain when I'm looking for bait because I'm looking for activity to make sure it's swimming, and then I'll go low gain, like low 60s on the gain when I'm actually fishing, because I want those better marks. Like I don't want to see something that's 6 inches in the water. I want to see something that's 2 feet. So you'll get those. You can clear out that small stuff.
This year I used mine. We had no water flow up there, so we actually found stripers sitting on the bottom. And I mean, they literally look like catfish, and we fished them straight down. Wessels would have been one day when we actually done some of that, and but the thing that I didn't realize is I see those fish if they're depending on how they're oriented, where you're looking at them. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Is you'll look at your live scope and you'll see the fish and you'll see the head and you'll see the tail and even the fork of the tail, and then he just disappears. It's like he's left. You're scanning for him and he's gone. But a lot of times it's because that fish is coming at you and he's turned, or when they're, you know what I'm saying, instead of going straight across from you, they're either horizontal or vertical versus what you're looking at on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's always swimming fish. But we literally this year, for the first time, all I used mine for the first year was bait. And obviously when we were pulling boards, I would see the fish coming, but I would have caught them anyway, right? You know what I'm saying? You see a school coming underneath the boat or in front of you and you're pulling over them.
You
didn't
see it
really
on 2D. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for y'all.
So what I do is I got two 12s, John, and I run one on 2D, and then the one out of the front when I'm pulling, I watch it. So I see the fish that's coming towards me. So I mean, or I'm going towards them. Excuse me. But like I say, I would have caught the fish anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pulling boards.
Well, you can set your depth.
We actually caught fish this year sitting. Stripers that was sitting in holes or in structure by fishing down on them in deeper water, dropping on them.
You can see the depth, and the other thing, when I'm fishing, what I'll do is I'm scanning left and right, looking 120 foot out, and if I see bait towards the left or I see more fish towards the left, I'm moving that way, and I'm trying to aim up, because I'm forward facing and moving, half a mile to a mile an hour. I'm going in the direction that I'm seeing fish with the live scope versus the 2D, where I'd probably just follow a track, like run the bank or whatever.
So on my boat, I got two, and I got one of them where I got it on a multi-bar on the front and the short. I turn it back towards me. I run it on the live scope all the time, and then I run a split screen of my side imaging and my 2D.
Yeah.
So if I see something on the side imaging that I like, I will, turn the live scope that way and then go. And that's like my 3 screens that I run. It works really, really, really good. But like I say, it's 2 different graphs because I'm running the live scope on the front one all the time.
Wes, what's your question?
And
I
I've
know
said
this
it.
is your show. What's your question?
Thank you. Does live scope work in salt water?
Yes.
As good as freshwater?
It is a little bit. I guess the salinity is denser water, so but you still get the same returns, and you only have. So they make a LVS 34 goes up to I think 200 feet deep, and whatever they have make a saltwater one that's a lot more expensive. That I
They
think.
do make a saltwater live scope transducer?
Yeah, it's more geared for saltwater, and I think it goes a little bit deeper. You can see a little bit further out, but it's like 4 times the cost. I want to say it's like $5,000.
So let me ask you this: talking about electronics here, trying to earlier. I actually, as a last trip, I kind of considered this, and I'm really deep, thinking really hard about it. What's your thoughts about? So I have two Garmin units. I have a 126 my live scope and a 106 my main unit in the back.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts about adding a Humminbird just for side scan only?
Yeah, for sure.
Side scan only.
I definitely
run them at the same time.
I prefer no, they can't be on this. So you can run them at the same time. They have to be different frequencies.
No.
So typically side scan, or at least on the Garmin, the GT56 is 1,000. I think it's 1,000 frequency, and the chirp like down imaging would be run at 800, and then your traditionals run at like 460. So you got 3 different frequencies that you're running. Whatever you do when you add a Humminbird, it has to run on something that's completely different. So you either have to run your traditional on 280 or 200, whatever the lowest chirp frequency is.
I'm really impressed by the imaging of the Humminbird. The second to none is far better side scan than anything
side
else.
scan.
And
Garmin to shame.
Yeah, the Garmin side scan I have right now is pretty dang good. I've been able to be successful with it. But man, just seeing the Humminbird, you're like, damn, that's pretty fucking good.
You get more solid returns on a Humminbird. Like you actually, I mean, I know what a fish is on side scan on a Garmin, but you can look at a Humminbird and you can be like, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a big fish, like.
That's a little fucking stick in the water right there. Yep. Exactly.
I'm with you, Pete. The side scan on a Humminbird is unbelievable, but that's really all you get out of it, right?
You're right. Absolutely. Better. I mean, I can get my Humminbird. I can get a Humminbird to talk to my Minn Kota in the front, but I don't really care for that. Honestly, I just I want it solely for side scan only.
There's another. I don't know if anybody's ever done this, but depending on which Minn Kota you have, you can run. Has anybody ever used the tracks? Like, have you ever made a track?
No.
Yes, I have.
You have. So you can, like, I run with my motor, boat motor down when I'm just scanning for bait, running 4 mile an hour, 5 mile an hour. On the live scope, you can start recording your track. So let's say you're going to fish a bank, and you're going to fish 2 miles long, and it weaves in and out, the whole bank. You put your trolling motor down, hit record track, start driving 5 mile an hour up the bank exactly like you would with a trolling motor. Get to the end of your spot, hit stop recording, and then go to that track and say, take me to the start. Your trolling motor will maintain the setting, put it on cruise control point, whatever you want to troll at, and it'll go 4 miles, 6 miles, however long it is. But you can literally record a track and have a place. It's good to do when you're fishing by yourself, because I don't have to look at the trolling motor left and right and drive.
There, John, we were doing I was doing a figure 8 over about a half a mile area, back and forth where the fish were staying there in the clinch. And West knows, I was in between the bridge and the parking lot there in the clinch, West.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I ever played with it. But it run the exact same path again, because we were catching fish every time we come through it. So
kind of like autopilot on big motors, especially offshore. Best thing in the world, especially if you're trying to, which a lot of people do it. I wouldn't. If you're fishing offshore by yourself, that's about the only way you could do it offshore by yourself and troll, is if you got autopilot on your big motors. If you don't,
I didn't stretch it out that far. So you're saying if I pull the river, I mean, we pull basically the same all the time, John, up there, certain areas. So if I, can you
You put your trolling motor down, and you're just going with a big motor, 4 or 5 mile an hour. Start recording your track.
But how do you? Can you save that track for later? I guess without it having hooked to a
Save
unit.
it forever.
Well, it
Well,
doesn't save forever when you replace the batteries. I think it loses some of its memory because I've lost some that I had named, certain
memory.
freaks.
Kind of what I was asking is control the motor itself.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. You hit return to track and wherever you started. Because I'll cruise 30 minutes running 5 mile an hour, looking for bait, looking for marks, but I know that I'm going to run up the bank. I know I'm getting good marks. When I get to the end of it after 30 minutes scouting, I got a freaking 4-hour path that I don't have to even touch my trolling motor. I just say, go back to the start.
So I recorded the track and ran the track that I'd been running on the trolling motor, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how you record it on the trolling motor. That's how you do it. The reason I brought it up because people are talking about a Humminbird. You can control it you can draw your track on a Humminbird and your Minn Kota will follow it, which is nice.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. You could run that track if you wanted to run the same track, just run it on your big motor, go over it, and then tell your trolling motor to do it. What I was saying was I did a track and then I wanted to repeat that exact track that's really the only once.
You'd have to be recording it.
Why did Garmin choose raggedy ass Humminbird to do that with? Why didn't they at least do it with Lowrance?
No, that's Minn Kota. Johnson Outdoors.
Oh.
They're the same company.
Yeah, so I'm considering that. I just don't know. I got to do a little research as far as where to mount a second transducer, of that size in the back of my boat. So
another hole, baby.
Get you a through hole. Lay it in the bottom.
So you do run like a you ain't drilling a hole every time. You got a plate back there, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have a plate, you put a.
I'm not afraid to drill a hole either. Now it's a damn fishing boat, not a dang water ski pleasure boat. So
Well, you know what I'm saying. I got that big thick ass plastic that I made where I could,
put
one off and move it around. I don't want 10,000.
I just don't know how far I've got to keep it away from the Garmin transducer, whether it's side by side. When I say side by side, like a foot apart, or other side of the boat, which I know they say you don't put a transducer on
the left side.
the port side of a boat there. But yeah. So I don't know.
Different frequencies is the big thing. You can run them side by side. They will interfere when one's, I think Garmin's is 810 for the down imaging.
I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the Helix. I think it is the smaller size, the 10. I think it is.
So I think they got a Helix or something like that. They got a Black Friday deal going on, I think.
I know. I saw that. I'm like, you know what? But
now that you say that,
I just hate waiting in line for.
It's all online now.
I got my 10s 2 years ago, and then I got the 12s last year on a Black Friday. While we were standing in line, as soon as the store opens, Pete, you can just call and order. Anything $50, anything over $50 is free shipping. Yeah, that's the thing that the guy told us when we were in line. I'm assuming it's the same this year. Anything that's in that paper, you could have called the phone number at 5 o'clock in the morning when the store is open, and you could either pick it up at the store, walk right straight in and do a store pickup, or have it shipped to you for free. And I'm like, really? Because there was like 400 of us, and I was probably the 100th in line, but 90 people were there to get a gun. So I was able to get my 12s, but that's what he was telling people behind me. He's like, if y'all don't want to wait, as soon as it hits 5 o'clock, you can order it online. And he said, and even if you want to order it online, while everybody else is standing in line, we have a guy there that's pulling the things. They'll be at the customer service desk for you to do customer pickup. But I'm like, shit. And like I say, he told us, he said, anything over $50 was shipped to you for free.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't have to. It's the Black Fridays that they don't give a damn how they sell them. They just want to sell them all, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And I didn't know this. I read one of the guys on that post that they discontinued. I thought they just discontinued the GT54. They've discontinued the 122, the 126. They don't make it no more.
Say that again.
The Garmin
The Garmin 126, they have discontinued it. They don't make it no more.
That's what they got on sale right now.
Yeah.
It's 26 SV or whatever it is.
126 SV, they quit making them. They're discontinued.
Echo Maps.
Now I got the UHD.
I did. So my biggest problem with I've switched everything to GPS map just because it was the only thing that could get the maps, but now I see that they have you can get the relief shading on the Echo Map version. That was like my biggest flaw with it.
So can you not, if you put the card in, you can't get the relief shading on the other one?
You can't get, so you originally couldn't get the Navionics Plus, which is that subscription map. But you can get, I think it's a Blue Chart V3. They have it now with relief shading. It doesn't have as good, I don't think, as the Navionics Plus.
I haven't bought a card for mine yet, so I'm wanting to try to figure out what card. The relief shading is one of the things I want, but then
yeah.
Hey John,
Yes,
the one you talking about for saltwater is the LiveScope XR system with a GLS 10 transducer and an with a GLS 10 and LVS and the LVS 62 transducer for $3,000. I might look into that.
Yeah, I've heard they do the same thing. I think it's just more meant or purpose built for saltwater.
But now, is that what you were talking about before I start looking and
Yep, that's a XR.
Oh, Wes is gonna get a live scope and he won't even know what the fuck he's doing.
And kill them bottom fish. You think I'm killing them bottom fish?
We don't know nothing, boy.
Hey, what's your language?
Kids in the background.
Yeah. You wait till I get that live scope bottom fishing, buddy. It'll be on.
John's got a headset on. They don't hear nothing.
Nah, they can't hear.
Sounds like I need you on my boat, John. Really.
I can do the electronics portion.
So, what card do you recommend?
So you should stay away from the cards if you can. I mean, if you got a smartphone, use Active Captain. Download the Active Captain app. You can do all the software upgrades and all that stuff yourself.
Yes, I don't understand it. So what do I do? Get a subscription and I can get all that through it?
It's free to have Active Captain. You can get all the updates and all that stuff free.
Or they're like,
come on, don't run a map card?
Yeah, you just put a SD card in there and let me see if I got mine pulled up. And then I just download it to my phone, like the map. And then you put squares.
Hold on, Daryl. Hold on a minute. John, I've got Active Captain, but on my map card, I couldn't even put nothing on my Active Captain until I showed where I purchased that card.
Yeah, so it's either or. You either purchase the maps through Active Captain, like the app, buy the maps.
Yeah.
Or if you have a card, then you'll have like a serial number that you have to enter.
That's what I did. So I've got a card in my depth finder and I can look at it on my phone too.
But you go here and you go to download charts. Oh.
I didn't know. That's awesome. I didn't realize I could get it without.
Yeah. So you can see these are my charts that I own. But that's the subscription relief shading, and then
also I can buy relief shading.
Yeah, but that's the subscription one. I think it's like $200 a year.
Gotcha.
But there's different maps. Like I've got, I got the relief shading, the U.S. the U.S. Lakes map, which is kind of shitty. U.S. Lake View. I've got a G3 Plus Lake View, but they have another one that's like for relief shading, just for an Echo Map.
Daryl, that's right off. That's starting at the ledge at McMarlin right there. I don't know. You can really see the color the way it's changing, but I love relief shading. That's all I use offshore. I use 2D sonar when I get to bottom fishing, but even when I'm running, that's all I use is relief shading. Biggest game changer I've ever seen, other than live video.
Relief shading's helpful, super helpful offshore, but it actually It's helpful fishing lakes too. I mean, you can see
Yeah.
like the contours, like, let's say a hole or a hard ledge. You can see a lot easier. It's just easier to see the colors than it is.
You recognize that, John?
It looks like frying pan.
So
You would be correct.
So, John, what do I get so I can buy just relief shading? You're saying?
Well, here's the other thing.
Is it
This
a
is why
package?
they don't make this stuff easy for people to figure
Gotcha.
out. I had to do it through trial and error. So I used to have an Echo Map, right? The Garmin Echo Map. I think it was a 94 or 93 SV UHD.
That's the first Garmin I ever had.
Okay.
Great
So
unit.
Echo Map Garmin's are not compatible with Navionics Plus. You cannot get that subscription. So I bought that map thinking it was compatible, and I had to upgrade to a GPS map series. So you have to look at the compatibility, like the chart compatibility when you're buying.
So I got the 126, whatever they
If
call
it's
it.
an Echo Map, you can't get the subscription-based Navionics, but you can buy, I think it's called Lakeview G3 Plus with relief shading. So if you're in your app, you can go in there. It'll tell you what you can get. If you have the app open, you just go to, pull up the chart and go to My Charts My Charts, and then you can see what's available if you have your units tied to your system. So you got to pair your Garmin depth finders with your Active Captain.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with my Navionics that I have on my phone, or it does?
No, that's completely. It's completely separate. You're talking about just the Navionics app.
Yeah, so I got like the $25 or $50 version of Navionics where you pay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It just you're looking at it on your phone versus on your.
I can see it. Yeah, that's
on your.
Well, see, that's what for me. What sucks is I got two 12-inch screens, and then I'm freaking looking at some of the contours and other stuff that I can't see on my screens. I'm looking at it on my phone, right?
Yeah, I take my iPad.
I love my phone
just for that. If I'm really looking for contours,
like I don't know what you're talking, but Jeff Peel was the one who showed it to me and how much stuff I could do on my phone, and he talked me into buying it. And I use it all the time now, especially when I'm somewhere where I'm not used to.
But Daryl, yeah, you can do all the updates yourself. You can download the charts. The only thing you have to have a memory card to save everything.
Yeah, I got an assload of memory cards in my deer days.
But yeah,
I had looked into doing it all and updated after Shane Lineberg had actually told me to fix it all, but I had to take my boat up there, like I said, to get 1,000 hour. And the guys, they already had the updates downloaded on a card. They said, it takes like 5 minutes. We'll put them in.
No, John, I told you wrong. I've got the Garmin 122 SV. I don't have the 126.
Yeah, and the ending in your Garmin unit is which maps it comes with.
Yeah, preloaded or in the map card I bought. That's what I was trying to look at. Now I gave like $249 for it. I think mine's it's something coast. It's something inland, eastern inland lakes and eastern coast. Something I can't.
I saved it when you bought it, Wes. It's like something.
You got the U.S. East Lakes, Rivers, and Coastal Marine.
That's it.
Yeah, that's got the Navionics Vision Plus.
Yeah.
That's a subscription base, so it may work on yours. I just remember it did not work on my 93 SV, and I'd bought the chart. I was so mad. I was like, damn, I just spent $200 on this chart, and now I got to go buy a friggin' brand new depth finder.
That's the depth finder I've got, John, on my 12 on my boat.
So the I don't remember it saying this on mine. The new paper, John, for the 126 Ultra, they're calling it Echo Map 126. It says Garmin Navionics inland and coastal included. Is that what's always been on them?
I've just
Is that what
heard.
comes on it?
I've heard that Garmin Navionics Vision Plus is the higher relief shading than whatever that G3 view with relief shading is.
But is that the new unit that's like $2,000 for a 10?
The GPS map. So when I got a 12-inch GPS map, it was $2,800.
Well, what I'm saying, they got something.
The GPS map is the I know the one that'll work with Navionics Vision Plus, and it has HDMI out too. Like if you wanted to run a
look at this troublemaker
screen. Look at him. He's like, man, you guys quit talking about electronics.
He's ready to go fishing. He wants to go fishing tomorrow.
I'm jealous.
Hey, John, where will it tell me in my active captain what map card I'm running?
Just hit charts and then hit the 3 horizontal lines in the top right and hit my charts.
Chart.
All right, guys, I'm gonna run off to bed. It's been a long day, so we'll see you next.
Yeah, I've got U.S. East Lakes, rivers, and coastal marine charts.
See you, Pete. Good luck tomorrow.
We'll see you, Pete. That one there. Is that the one you just talking about, John?
Yes, that's the same one I got.
So you say that you have an HDMI out on a 12-inch screen, John?
Yeah, you can. On the GPS map, that's like one of the bigger things that you can do, because I know a lot of people will run.
So what's the bottom number on that graph you got?
It's a GPS map 1243.
I got you. Yeah.
1243. XSV, that's it. They actually have a. Oh, it's 1242. Yeah, they're $3,000. I ordered mine from the GPS store out of based out of Wilmington, North Carolina. So I ordered it. They shipped it the same day. I got it the next day, and they took like $300 off. Paid like $20.
Have you seen that, John? Do you know there's an update? Have you got that new update for the map?
So that's the difference in mine, I think, on the US East Lakes. So mine's just a subscription.
Oh, okay.
I just pay annually and I don't have an update. But if you look at my other ones, like this one, US and Canadian lakes, like that one has an update. But I don't use those maps. I only use these maps. All my charts look like that, and if I want to, if I need just a navigation aid, I use my I have a 7612, and it has like the traditional, regular contour maps.
So when I do this update on my phone, I'll have to connect my phone. When I get down to my boat, I'll have to connect my phone to my depth finder to upload it to my card, correct?
Yep. And let me tell you a secret. When you're doing that, you better make sure your phone's fully charged.
Yep, because if you lose power, you're screwed.
I bricked a Garmin, a $4,000 GPS map, my 7612. It was doing an update right before a tournament, and it had a red X. And I will say Garmin has the best support. That guy walked me through over the phone. We were trying to reset it. He was like, man, I'm sorry. He was like, I will next day air you another unit. He said, I said, well, I'm fishing a tournament in Virginia. They next day aired it to my hotel, and we put it in the parking lot.
So I fished with a guy, John, and I tell everybody this, that he's probably in his mid 70s, and he's as great with a Garmin. I'm not. So I mean, he might even be mid-level. But I asked him one day. I said, "How did you learn all of this?" And he's like, "Well, I'm out here during the day because I'm retired." He said, "I call a customer service line, and somebody who I can understand. No slight intended to anybody who doesn't, with a slang language. I'm not trying to get into that, but anyway, he literally said that there's no dumb questions, and they would stay on the phone with him as long as he wanted. And he had learned everything sitting on the phone from 8 to 5 with them not obviously from 8 to 5, but he said it.
Yeah.
Anything I asked it, I wanted to log in, and I called actually for a part number to tie my units together. And I told Todd the other day, I said, I'll call and get you whatever part number you want. He's like, I was like, I'm telling you, less than 30 seconds, there'll be a human being answer the phone that you can understand and talk to you about whatever you want with Garmin. And that's that's what separates them for me from everybody else.
Yep, their support.
Hey, right quick. Ole Miss, now it says re-download map. Download the coverage area that you have already downloaded. Do I need to do that or just hit not now?
It's if you want it on your phone.
Okay.
But definitely do it while you're on wireless and not, out on the water.
Now it's asking me, do I want to add a chart subscription?
That's if you bought a card, you can do that.
Yeah, Wes has the card.
But like, I'll show you this. This is what's crazy about the relief shading. Let's see. This is on Baden.
That's what I want.
So this is on Baden. Let me see if I can show you this. So where this is out in front of the golf course.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
All right, you see up against like Whitney ramp side.
I'm trying to block. Yeah, I got you now. Oh, that's awesome.
All right, now look at this. So if you look at this fish number, this mark, it is number 13, right? So I marked it a long time ago. Oh shit! It's number 13. I marked it a long time ago, right? Way before I had this map. Well, when I got relief shading, I looked at it. Well, there's a hole out there, and you can kind of, I don't know if you can see it now, but there's a hole out there that it just drops 5 feet, and it holds fish. It's crazy.
Hey, so, John, now what is raster? What is raster?
I think it's just a different color imaging.
It looks funky looking.
So what is your preferred color when you're running live scope? What scheme are you running, John?
I run the amber.
Yeah, me too.
I do like I think it's midnight and green. I've done the midnight and blue, like the black and blue, black and green. The amber is easy to me.
Black, but I got so used to the amber. So
when I first had it, I used the black and blue, and I like that. But I use that amber, copper, whatever you want to call it, orange looking color.
I'm excited to get my boat back with the updates on it and see without the false tree. And so when I started, I had the false tree, and then somewhere through a year's time, I developed one about 2/3 of the way across the screen and down about 2 inches also. That wasn't there when I started. I don't know where that one came from.
Let's see.
It just looked like noise. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I've got some. Pretty sure I know what you're talking about. So you can see, this is the.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
I don't know that my phone.
I'm trying. A while ago, I had it working. I got you.
So that's a LVS 34. That's out 70 feet. You don't see a tree there, right? You don't see that ghost imaging. Look at this. That's my old one.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what.
And you see where the red X. This is what I had to send to support. I was like, what the hell? I can't see anything out here that was 30 feet in front of the boat.
Well, what messes me up was the one that I got used to the tree, but the one that's 2/3 of the way across that showed up like after some period of time, and it's always there.
Yep.
Now that I wonder if I moved and my angle's like I'm not back perfectly straight. Be curious to see if it's still there.
Yeah, adjust your angle. They have like an offset piece that's supposed to be there. So if you don't have that there, you definitely need to put it there. And then they told me to remove my offset piece to see if it went away, and it helped a little bit. So if you don't have it just right, like I use a trolling motor mount, like on the actual motor,
okay,
where the drive is and not the shaft. If you don't have it perfectly aligned because it's hose clamped on,
yeah, mine.
you'll notice it throws a shitty image.
I run the Ulterra, so I got a precision sonar where it pulls it away. I got the 300.
You got the nice shit.
Almost $400 for that crap. Literally, I could have, if I would have had the pieces, they could have 3D printed it. I mean, I could probably pull mine off and have you the exact same thing 3D printed in like 15 minutes at work.
for $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. The first mount I bought, live scope mount, it was, keep in mind, when it came out, I bought it that weekend. Like I was watching it falling out of some November, like maybe 4 years ago. And I bought it that weekend. It was one of the first ones to have it. They didn't have a mount out, but I joined this live scope group. This guy was 3D printing stuff, and I paid him $520 for a piece of rigid conduit with a handle, and everything was 3D printed. It was a 3D print mount that went to it, and it clamped onto the thing. And I don't know how many he sold, but yeah, I mean, he was the only one that had it, that didn't tie, because I didn't want to mount it to my trolling motor. I wanted to be able to swivel it, and it worked great. I had it forever, and then one time I drove off with it down, and that was the end of it.
For me, I don't think I would ever want mine on a pole, just because catching bait, right? When I'm on a trolling motor, it's nice.
It's way easier just to hit that left and right.
It is for me. I mean, even the ones that they got where it's separate, you could do a separate remote and all that. It's like, that'd just be extra for me. I mean, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But once you know how far to throw the hardest parts, okay, the fish are 10 feet from the boat, in front of the boat. Once you figure out, how fast you're going and where you need to start throwing the net, like for me, I throw, when I start seeing them at 10 foot, I know I'm going to get them. Or, when they're coming up to 20, if I throw it and I'm seeing them at 20, I know I'm not going to get them.
Yeah, I never try to, because I can't get loaded enough. I'm always usually sitting still and just creeping on them right when I'm throwing. So.
Are you fishing Friday?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I actually got to work. Only to 11 though. So.
I think I'm gonna hit up Baden Friday, either Baden or I may go to High Rock. I don't know.
I think there's been some fish getting caught at Baden. So, as far as striper go, I know that catching the dog crap out of Peter sent me some pictures of all those crappie. He said he left said he could have caught 500, but I got to be the world's worst crappie fisherman on earth. And I love to eat them, but that's it. I don't really care. I'm like you. I don't care to fish for them. I really don't fish for anything but striper. I try not to anyway. Anything else is usually an accident. But I would like to crappie fish if I'm the world's worst. And I hadn't tried it with a live scope because I'm always striper fishing. So
it's fun picking them out. You don't even have to be on structure. You can find them. I mean, there's a place in Flat Swamp that always holds them. Right. And you can go sit over top of this 30-foot hole, and they'll be stacked in there.
I probably know where you're talking about. I go straight to we used to fish it. We put in some cedar trees there. I'm talking 20 years ago. So you go straight to before you go underneath the railroad tracks, take a right, and that first island, it's like 25 or 30 feet on one side, and it's like 4 foot on the back side of it.
Well, this is before the S curves. So if you're coming from the railroad trestle, it's before the S curves, and it's literally dead out in the middle of the river channel. And every time you go over it, there's no structure there, nothing, but it holds crappie.
We put out cedar trees in front of where I'm talking. I don't even think that's what it's called on the map, but we always called that Buck Creek, and that's what locals used to call it. Was back in there when, like I said, the front side of that island, and
where it veers off to the left once you go into there's an island right there under the railroad trestle.
No, before you get to the railroad trestle, you just hang around to the right, go by that peninsula that's sticking out, and
Yeah.
it's the island. It's right there. Like I say, if you go on the back, if you mess up and try to pull even boards on the back side of it, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's just shallow on the
on the other
backside.
side, on the other side of it is, usually 20 to
30 feet.
25, 30. Yeah, depending on, probably 20 right now, but
That's
we had put cedars out there years and years ago. We would go as soon as everybody started deer hunting and it got a 50-degree day. We would go down there, and me and my buddy would just murder crappie for just a meat trip, and go down there and long line them out, just a split shot and drop right straight on where we put them cedars and catch the crap out of them. And they would always be big. They're nice. A lot big.
They got some nice crappie in there. Plenty of them. Wes,
Yes,
did you get your map? You get your maps updated?
It never did. It asked me, did I want to subscribe to something?
That's the Navionics Plus map.
So, John, have you ever been up in the river?
So what did? Go ahead.
You fished up towards Idols?
Nope. I've gone to 85, and I don't like taking my boat up there, honestly.
So in the spring, I'll take you. I got a jet. So that is the whole area where I grew up. I live right 10 minutes from there. So the only place I ever fished was up and down. We fished through it with 25 horsepowers and pitchforks back when. But I got a weld also. No, I got an Express. I'm sorry, with a jet on it.
Yeah, I've fished that area.
It's really good for striper in the spring, man. It's everything comes up there. It used to be really, really good. The fish aren't as big as they used to be, but I mean, I've caught quite a few 20s there.
I think my biggest on High Rock 16, and that was in the S curves, January 1.
I caught this fish, if you can see it there. I caught both of those on the same day. That's a 21 and a half and a 7-pound, 15-ounce largemouth. Both had the same hole with a bucktail.
up the river.
Yeah, right beside, through a rock and hit the dam. Of course, I am a concrete cowboy, so
yeah, I couldn't get any boat. Well, actually, I used to have a little aluminum John boat. Maybe that would go, but just getting the 85 bridge for me. I mean, there's one spot through there just before the bridge. It's not but a foot and a half of water.
But it's terrible. We can't get up through there. But I got where I put in at's less than 2 miles to the dam. Not even that. It's maybe not even a mile. So there's a.
How far north of that?
I think
that cave that they got. I don't know what kind of cave they call it.
Daniel Boone.
So that cave, how far north of that?
Boone cave. A good way. So you come all the way up underneath 64 from Boone's Cave, and then from there you're another 10 miles up, I'd guess.
That's as furthest I've been on that river. And I went from there in a John boat all the way down to Flat Swamp.
Right. Yeah,
I think it was like 20.
It's a haul from
24 miles.
Probably. I had a 20-foot with a 90 on it, and that would be 12 gallon to run the 64 from where I put it at. That's a haul.
But you got decent water through there, though, right? I mean, 8 foot of water in the river channel.
You got like 3 between there and where I'm talking about. There's 3 sets of Indian shoals, and you really got to know how to run it. And it's tricky. It ain't bad with a jet, but still, even with a jet, you got to know what you're doing. I mean, I say that not like, if you can read water and like rocky ass water, there's a few spots that's pretty hairy, but there's some really, really good fishing up and down through there. We fished those forever. We would just back up to those Indian shoals. There's one that's like 6 feet and the rocks across. And you could literally, when the sun got right and the water was clear in the spring, like if it hadn't got muddy, you could see the striper running the bait back and forth. We would just sit above it and anchor and free line back to them. I mean, I've had some of the best days ever.
Well,
Daryl lost his internet.
Am I back
Oh.
now?
Are you back?
So yeah, we back again, baby.
Back again.
So yeah, that we would have 30 fish days down there. You know, it's a lot of hybrids at the dam all the time. That's if they hadn't cut me off, that I had plans to win the Striped Bass Challenge when it was at High Rock with 2 hybrids. I cut it off from 85 bridge up. So there's a population of hybrids that stay around the dam you could catch.
Smaller.
Well, you know, there's the largest I ever caught up there was 12 pounds, but I mean, I've heard of a 14 coming out there, but
Damn.
I didn't see it. But yeah, no, I've caught quite a few over 10 there. Now the hybrids are some of the best fish in there, but they're you know, that's more of a springtime thing too. But like I say, I can pluck out a couple 5 or 6 pounders almost any day. I say that if I went tomorrow, I probably couldn't, but you literally there is. And the crazy thing that I've never understood, John, is we catch some really, really, I call them nice, but 4-pound smallmouth up there. There's smallmouth there that's not in High Rock. I never caught a smallmouth in High Rock.
I've never caught a smallmouth in High Rock.
I promise you, if you go up there with me, we'll make a run to the dam and we'll catch smallmouth anytime in the spring. And I ain't talking about no mean mouth or no Kentucky. I'm telling you, they legit brown bass. They're awesome. And I know of like 3 different people. I caught 2 in a net over the last 20 years, a rainbow trout. And the only thing I can figure is they come down, you know, they wash through from upriver. So
You'll have to do that.
it's fun.
John, I'll just call you tomorrow sometime about this update.
Call me and let me know.
All right, Wes, I didn't mean to hog up your thing, bro. Go ahead.
Oh. No, you fine. I don't understand it. I don't know why it's not. I don't know. Now it's acting like it's updated. It's not saying. It's just saying active in details.
Yeah, that's if it says active, you're golden.
But a few minutes ago, it said there was an updated version available.
Well, you were probably looking at a different chart. How many charts do you have in there? Like I've got 4 in mine.
I've got 6 in here.
Yeah, if it says active, you're good.
I've got U.S. coastal inland lakes, Bahamas. I've got quick draw contours, Lakeview 3 Ultra East, U.S. all U.S. and Canadian West Coast.
Yep.
I don't know why I had. I don't know why I bought that card.
When you buy,
that was the Chesapeake Bay. I bought. Oh, go ahead.
Well, when you buy a unit, it'll you link it, whatever your unit comes with, it'll be on there. Like I've got 6, 4, or 5 that I don't even use. They just came with the units I bought.
Oh, okay.
And I'll never update them.
So what'd you buy?
It says now my U.S. East lakes, rivers, and coastal marine charts. It just says active.
That's the paid chart.
Yeah, that's $250 worth of chart.
That's the good one.
So
that's the one you want.
Bought, Wes?
What, Daryl?
So that's the card you bought, right?
Yeah. U.S. East lakes, rivers, and coastal marine charts. Oh, dude, I can see stuff in I can see stuff on Watts Bar in the Clinch and Melton Hill that I'd never thought was in that lake with the relief shading up there. It's money.
John showed me that hole. That's like, I mean, that's money spots there, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, if you look at my map, like, you know, I think when I got it, I was in like, if I didn't name the mark, I was at like 180. I'm probably at like 400 marks now on my charts. But if you looked at everything below 200 before I had those charts, it's crazy how many of them are in like relief shading. Like you'd be looking, you're like, damn, that looks like a good spot to fish. And you're like, oh shit, I caught fish all in there. You know, like I always mark them when I catch fish with a specific symbol.
So, well, that's like this guy I was telling you about who was doing all the stuff that I asked him when I fished Chesapeake Bay, was he marked every fish that he caught with a date and a weight. Bill literally weighs every fish that they catch. And we were coming through up there, and and you got to realize we're in Chesapeake Bay, and I'm like, my God, Bill, what's all over the screen? And then I get closer because we're got a used crab closer from the back of the cabin and go up there. He's like, come here and I'll show you what's up. And they were like, and everything was 42, 43, 44, 46. I'm like, holy crap. And I get looking at the dates. He's like, yeah, we caught fish in the last 20 days. He marked every fish on his graph. And it was awesome. Because the confidence that you get when you hadn't been up there and you've been pulling, and then when you come through all of his marks that he's caught, it's like, yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, then you can find the pattern. I mean, you can see where they traditionally hold.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't put the weights on mine, but it has the date, and then I log all my trips in an iPhone note, and I just go back and I'll look. Hey, I need to see November, and I'll just type November, and I can see every freaking place I fished in November.
It's not like going in Jersey up there, like what do you say, Wes? A double-digit day in the bay now is like an awesome day, right?
I ain't never had one. I've come close. I had 7 fish one day. Or 8 fish. No, we had 8 fish one day. A double digit day in the Chesapeake Bay, you're doing good.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That'd be awesome. So he's, the time in between fish is what I'm trying to say. He's got time to log them,
Me and John's gonna get them this year.
We wouldn't
have had a chance to road them down and even pencil them in Jersey.
But John, again, what
we were trying to get them in a boat, much less the damn whale.
I didn't want to catch no more fish. But hey, John, what's like I said, I'll keep an eye on it. It's getting closer. About another 2 weeks, I'll really kind of find out what's going on with it. Are you still? If it holds like it did last year, I would say go up there maybe January the 2nd. I'd stay about 5 or 6 days. And hopefully we can if we could get 3 days fishing in 6 days, you'll catch some fish.
I'll be fishing the Striped Bass Challenge the first week of January.
Oh, that's right. Damn.
You ought to fish that. That's your freaking home lake.
Man, I don't really care about tournaments. I just like to hang out with people. I don't give a shit about fishing a tournament. I don't even have a boat up here.
It looks like, Wes, I'm going with Bill on the 21st, 2nd, and 3rd, probably. We talked about that tonight.
Oh, in December?
Yeah. I think they're going on the 15th. He said it was him and Jeff through like the 20th. And then Bill asked me if I wanted to go. He was talking about Christmas. I said, yeah, I probably ain't going to swing Christmas. But
yeah, you'd think Bill don't even have a family. Man, when that old man goes fishing, he'll stay gone for fucking months.
Well, I think he's already got plans to be there for 2 months now. I think he's going the 15th. I think Johnson asked me, I'm pretty sure he said February 14th was when he had booked, because they're not staying in Chuck's house this year. They're staying they got on their own Airbnb or something. I can't remember whether he said he had it booked through January 15th and would probably stay longer if he.
Yeah, hey, John, that's a nice house that I booked too. It's right there. There's a big convenience store right beside it. It's actually got a restaurant, convenience store. You pull out of that house, go left, stop there. I think we might be 10 minutes from the ramp where I'll be putting in. And unless we fish up around Morley's Wharf, we'll have to drive a little bit, just depending on what the fish is doing and the weather and the wind. I'll tell you, at times Chesapeake Bay can be a hell of a lot worse than trying to go offshore.
Oh, yeah.
So
Bill told me that he come home last year, however long they've been going. He said he come home for like 4 or 5, 6 days. And he said 2 of those days he couldn't have fish. But I think he said he was there 44 days, Wes, and he missed 2 last year. That's in a 22-foot boat, John. In a whatever they are, 21.5-foot used craft.
Yeah.
Last year was the best weather ever. The only thing we fought was the fog, and we had to have we couldn't fish out there in that main channel where we're catching fish without the radar.
I got something for fog.
We had to run.
I got radar.
We had to run from the big tank, whatever.
Did you see my new toy, Wes?
Nuh-uh.
Let me. Oh, this is bad. I got the night vision cam on my boat now.
The
Psionics.
So Bill had FLIR on his boat.
FLIR.
He said it wouldn't work in the fog.
won't work in the fog. You use radar side by side. Look, I'll show you what this shit's fucking wild.
I was wanting to see the flare work or flare, however you say it. I call it flare.
This is the Psionics, and it's cheaper than the FLIR, which is why I got it. But it plugs right into my Garmin, and I run it side by side with
Really?
Yep.
What's it called?
It's called Psionics. Hang on, I'll share this clip. Let's see, this shit's crazy.
Psionics Nightwave, $1,800.
Let's see. So this was the other night. Can you see my screen?
Hold on, let me put it up, John. God, I got it up, John.
So left, I got two 12 inches. The left one's my night vision camera. The right one is my radar. But we were going about 25 mile an hour at night, and you can look at it, and it's kind of hard to see. But I mean, we're moving, and I mean, you can see the friggin' lake plain as day.
It looks like night. It looks like daytime.
Yeah, it's pitch black out. Like I zoom out here in a second, you can see how, I mean, just above my compass, is the dark night.
Pull up on my phone now. Well, I had it pulling up. Oh, that's cool as crap. I screenshot it.
But you can see how, I mean, you see how dark it is up here. This is the front of my boat. That's my trolling motor, the front of my trolling motor right there. I mean, it's dark.
And you just plug it into your Garmin depth finder and you're good to go.
Yep. I mean, I had to run the wire. That was a lot of fun, but
dude, this is only $2,000.
So where you plugged it into the HDMI?
No, so this is the other benefit of going with the GPS map. The higher series Garmin's, they have a video input for camera.
So
it's called a BNC connector.
Yeah,
you got to have an input on your graph.
That's the reason I was asking. I wouldn't have any.
Would my 120? Would my 122 have that?
I don't know.
The Ultra.
Garmin Ultra 122
SV.
Well, is yours a 122 or a 1222, Wes?
Mine's a 122 SV.
Or yeah, 1222.
No, 122.
Echo Map. Oh yeah, they do have a 122. Let's see. I don't think so. I'm looking at the back of it.
I have the Echo Map Ultra 122 SV, and it came with, of course, a GT with a GT56 transducer.
So yours has the hell's the back of the unit?
I'm looking at it for manual software.
No.
Let's say Active Captain, Autopilot.
You have an Ethernet. So here's the back of the unit right here.
I can't see you, John. Your picture's gone.
Oh. Let's see. StreamYard.
It says I've got VHF, AIS, cartography, autopilot, installation, Active Captain.
So here's the back of your unit right here.
I can't see you, John.
I shared the screen. Can you see the screen?
No. Oh, I can't see your picture. Okay, let's see. No. Okay. Oh, there we go.
So the back of your unit here, you got to have a what's called a BNC or an RCA connector for a camera.
Okay.
So you don't have it, but like on mine, I'll show you what it looks like.
So what Garmin are you running, John?
Did they make a box you could add to that to put it in, John, or you got to have it on?
No, you gotta have some input.
What? I didn't hear you, John. What Garmin did you say you're running?
This one right here, the 1243.
Okay.
Can you see my? You can still see my screen.
No, I just see. I'm just in the back of that Garmin you got up now.
Let's see if this.
Where'd your picture go?
I gotta share a new window. Hang on.
So what'd you say? Your 1243 was like $3,000?
Yeah, I paid 27 through GPS store. See if you can share that, or my presenting screen. So here's the back of my unit, Wes. Oh shit!
Damn, you got this unit cheaper than I got mine.
Well, I paid 2,700 for it.
Oh, okay.
And they're $3,000 retail.
Yeah, mine was $3,100 with a GT56 transducer 2 years ago.
Yeah, you should have gotten a GPS map. But you can see like this one has HDMI out right here. But this is what you connect your camera to.
So with that HDMI out, Wes, you could literally put a 70-inch screen on your boat.
You put whatever size screen you want, and friggin', I know a lot of people that use it. They'll put like a 24-inch monitor up front for a live scope,
right?
And they'll run an HDMI cable to a 24-inch monitor and run it off an inverter.
I wonder how that works in the sun, though, when you're just running a regular
you'd have to have like a true outdoor TV, or they make a 12-volt marine screen that doesn't have like any of the processing. It's just a screen. I think a 16-inch is like $400, but it runs on 12 volt, so you don't have to worry about getting an inverter.
That'd be awesome.
So you're saying you could take you could go to Best Buy or whatever and buy a 16-inch monitor screen, plug HDMI to that unit, and have that big of a screen.
You could do a 65-inch TV if you had the power.
You could take your TV off the wall, Wes, and hook to it with HDMI.
But I mean, but you don't have to have nothing to power, just a monitor, right? Just a screen.
Well, that's what I was saying. If you didn't have an inverter, yeah, I mean this unit's not going to power the monitor. It's just going to give you a video signal out through HDMI.
Oh, okay, I got you.
What he's saying is they make a 12-volt one for $400 at 16 inches.
Oh, okay, that you could just hook up to your regular power source like what your depth finder's on.
Yeah.
Wonder how quick that would kill a battery, though, with that much screen.
Well, I mean, I've got 2 lithium house batteries on mine. I can go pretty much 3 days without even charging.
What batteries?
I love that Ionic, that 36-volt. In fact, a buddy of mine told me the other day, he said, Wes, I was pulling in Cricket Cove Marina, and he had his Wi-Fi on, and he said, my Wi-Fi kept coming up, we live. And then it dawned on me, he said, you put an Ionic battery in your boat, didn't you? I said, yeah. He said, he said, my Wi-Fi was picking up the signal from your battery. I said, well, how much did I have? How much power did I have on it? And he said, I was showing about 81% about 3 weeks ago.
You mean his Bluetooth was picking it up?
Oh, Bluetooth, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is the lithium I have, and I got these because they are cheaper than.
I saw those on. So I bought the Ionics too, and I love them where you can Bluetooth in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any of that capability on these, but I'm telling you, I mean, you can. So if you understand lithium batteries, whatever the voltage is at is pretty much what you're at. They start at 13.4, and when it's at 10.8, it's at like 20%.
Right.
But I mean, these are cheap. I mean,
so the Ionics, the BMS on the Ionics, they will not drop anywhere near that. So ours start at like 13.8, and at right under 12, they'll cut off.
Yeah, and I don't know what the actual.
We can run 99%, but mine, they definitely will not run that low with the thing.
I don't know that it's 10.8, but
right. Yeah, I got you.
You can
maybe 11.8.
You can do the math behind it. If each voltage is 0.1, right, it's like 10%.
Yeah, so
I don't need any of the fancy stuff when I bought the batteries.
Yeah,
I bought them 2 years ago when they were more expensive.
Is more up my alley. We run lithium batteries in our forklift, so we got some.
Hey guys, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna leave the room up. Whenever y'all decide to leave, just hit leave studio, and y'all be good.
I'm
See
about
you
to
later.
take it. I'm about to take it to bed.
Yeah,
I
I'm
am too. I'm tired.
there too.
If you go fishing this weekend, hit me up, Daryl.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. See you.
See you, bro.
Hey, y'all have a good night, man.
Dude, all right. Thanks, Wes.
Oh, you're welcome, buddy.